Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Empire Season 4, Episode 8, and the name of this episode is Cupid Painted Blind. This episode was pretty interesting, especially when it went towards the ending. I was like, whoa. Yeah, this was really good. So, but before I get started, let me offer my love and condolences to everyone that was affected by the tragedy in Texas as well as Las Vegas. Also, the people that were affected by the hurricanes Harvey, Irma, Jose, and Maria. If you can give any kind of relief or support to the families that were affected by these tragedies, please do so because our fellow man needs our help. All right, so let me begin with this review. The episode opens up. This is the aftermath of what happened on the last episode when Jamal beat Warren's ass. Pretty much what happened is that, Warren is pretty much MIA, and there's been a warrant put out for Jamal's arrest, for 8 counts of assault. So the family is now trying to come together to figure out how we're going to get this off of Jamal or whatever. And, I think Thirsty was like, okay, we got to find a way where, if Warren actually, pretty much confessed and says that he was the one that started the fight, this would get Jamal off, but we can't find Warren because we don't know where Warren is. So they're pretty much, we see that Andre and Hakeem come in, and they're all trying to talk as a family as to, like, look, she got us. She came after Hakeem, she came after Jamal, and now she's coming after you next, Andre. Andre, he was real smug with it. He was like, first of all, I ain't got no babies, and, I ain't, beating up my boyfriend. I ain't gonna be beating up my boyfriend. I ain't got no boyfriend to beat up, so what the hell she got with me? What can she do with me and everything? Little does she know that damn new therapist you got done changed the calibrations on your medicine. So, and we're gonna see how this plays out throughout the episode. So that pretty much was going on in that first scene there. Like, she realizes that she's coming after each of my kids, and the next person she's going to come after is Andre. Then we get a scene with Angelo and Warren. Warren is in some hotel, beat up in bed, and Angelo is there, like, kind of rubbing it in, like, wow, you're so pathetic. What, did you really think it was going to happen? See, that's what happens when you fall for a lion. When you fall for a lion, you end up going down. I learned that lesson, but obviously you thought that you could, you obviously thought that you were special. You're not special, bitch. I mean, and Angelo was just kind of like rubbing it in. And then Warren was like asking, like, so what's going on with Jamal? It's like, well, I don't know, but we put charges out on him, so eventually he's going to end up in jail where he belongs. I'm like, okay, Angelo, you need to take your little smug ass on. But he said that, Mom wanted me to check up on you, so I'm going to be, I'm going to be checking in on you, throughout. But in the meantime, they also have a guard there to kind of watch over him, to make sure nobody comes into the room. Then we actually go back to Jamal's place where they're all there talking, and Cookie immediately knows that Jamal's heartbroken, so she's like looking to make sure he ain't got no pills and that he ain't gonna relapse. And he's like, you know what, I know what this is. I know why all of you are here. You all are thinking that I'm gonna relapse, but that's not gonna happen. Y'all all just need to go and leave me alone and let me be. And eventually they do leave, but Cookie kind of gives that look. And then the next thing you know, she has a flashback of when she was in prison with her and Pound Cake. And remember, Pound Cake is pregnant, but she's pregnant by one of the guards. And we see that, Pound Cake ends up going in labor, so they pretty much have to, pretty much have to take her to the infirmary where she has a little girl. And they pretty much have it set up where her daughter's going to take the baby and everything like that, and she's crying and she's happy because she's like, wow, I really don't want to let her go, because Cookie was telling her, you know, giving birth to a child is the most joy and pain you will experience in your life. But after that, the pain don't even matter. You just have this new life in your hands, and it just changes you. And we kind of saw that with Pound Cake. And it was actually a really touching moment. But that moment made her think about her love for Jamal. And you can just tell that, yeah, Jamal is heartbroken. Deep, you know, really deep. So therefore, after that, Lucius and Cookie pretty much come up with a game plan. And she was like, look, and she pretty much tells Lucius, like, look, I don't need Sweet Dwight. I need Lucius, because if you're going to give me Dwight, you need to go some damn well and let me avenge this family. He's like, I can't believe you would say something to me like this. I'm with you, Cookie. I got you. First of all, I already know off the bat, Andre ain't telling our asses the truth. Because they did ask Andre, like, you know, have you been talking to anyone? Have you been sharing anything with anybody that they could have some ammunition on us? And he said no, he hasn't been talking to anybody. But we all know he's been talking to Pamela's ass. So he's like, look, I'm going to get to the bottom of what's going on with Andre. You handle the situation with Jamal, Cookie. You know, it's all about divide and conquer. So let's make it happen. So then we see Diane, we see that Cookie runs up on Miss Diane in public. Miss Diane got all these damn goons with her, and they all look like they was about to charge Cookie, but Cookie's like, look, I ain't coming up here to put my hands on you. I just came to give this ring back to you. You know, the ring that Angelo gave me. I've been meaning to send it back to you, but I didn't. And the reason why I'm giving it back is because he told me that it belonged, you know, to his grandmother. So I know this ring is very important to you and your family, so I wanted to give it back to you. As soon as she's about to, like, kind of, like, hand it off to Diane, she threw it out in the street and was like, take that, bitch. and then all of a sudden, she sends all of her little minions out to get it. Like, they all running in traffic, you know, trying to get this ring. And the whole time, that was a setup. Because we see Thurston is over by a hot dog stand where a guy got pictures of all of the guys that was working for Miss Diane. So they now know the men that are there guarding her. And she know with all the crazy, you know, bullshit she's been doing, I can see why she got all them guards, because she knows somebody want to kill her ass, especially Cookie of all people. So they found out who all of her guards were, and they also noticed that there was also another guard there that was unaccounted for. And they found out that was the guard that's guarding Warren. So we find that guard, we know where Warren is. Then we get like a session with Tiana is actually, you know, in the studio working with Shyne. She's doing this damn good hook and everything, and she's in her groove. Hakeem come up in there with the bullshit. You know, he all, you know, in his feelings and shit, and, you know, he's like, Shyne, what you doing up in here, man? He's like, look, Cookie put me on 5 albums for this 2020, and, you know, this track is something I'm working on, and he says, shoot, won't you hop on it with your girl? Y'all can make something of it. He's like, well, first of all, it ain't my girl, and I don't even like this track. This track is whack. And then all of a sudden, she comes out the booth, and he's like, you need to put some auto-tunes on that mess. She slapped the dog shit out of Hakeem and was like, I'm getting sick and tired of your entitled, spoiled ass. You need to go find your baby mama with this bullshit. You know what? The hell with you. And she kind of walks off, and all of a sudden he gets all mad and starts to trash. He's like, man, forget her. I don't need her ass. And, you know, he's just all in his feelings and shit. And Shyne, literally, and I was actually surprised that Shyne did this. Shyne was like, you know what? You need a wake-up call. And let me actually show you how you're going to deal with situations from here on out, because obviously you need some guidance right now. So he pulls, you know, Hakeem by his chain and takes him somewhere. Next thing you know, Shyne pulls up to this house where it's these two women, you know, and all of these kids, you know. I think there was even also a set of twins, and pretty much they are all his kids. And Hakeem is like blown away because he didn't even know that Shyne had children or anything. Like, he's now seeing a side of Shyne that even Lucius and nobody knows. So he pretty much, you know, is trying to school Hakeem of how to be a man and how you handle shit. Because he pretty much lets him know that, look, you see those two ladies on the porch? Those are my baby mamas. And you see they get along, right? And he says there's another baby mama, but right now she's visiting some family in California. But these are all the kids I got with them. You know, I had, you know, 3 kids with 3 different women. But like there was more than 3 kids there. But then he was like, look, you know the reason why you never knew about them is because I keep them hidden. You know, I don't mix, I don't crap where I eat. Because none of the women I've dated are in the music industry. And you can see that the 2, you know, baby mamas get along just fine. They are like best friends. They are just kikiing with each other on the porch, and the kids are in the front playing. And he was like, and like Hakeem was kind of blown away by it. He was like, wow, how did you pull this off? He was saying it's simple. You know, I don't crap where I eat. None of the women I've dated are in the industry. And I keep my personal life personal. This never gets out to the public because I don't bring my business, you know, and my personal life together. I keep them very much separate. So he was like, but then he's saying that, you know, but me and Tiana got a connection and everything. He's like, yeah, y'all do. But connections end and connections fade. So you need to start focusing on that and really focusing on your child. And then he says, rule number 2, you don't let no man, no courts, or anything get in between you and your child. That's your seed. And don't nobody get in the way of that. Then all of a sudden he kind of like dapped up Shyne, and I was like, that's real. Because Shyne didn't have to do that. But I'm glad that Shyne did, because somebody need to pull Hakeem, you know, attention to the fact that, bruh, it's your fault that all of this happened, and now you need to be a man and fix it. And stop walking around here, you know, throwing temper tantrums and shit, because don't nobody fucking care. So, I'm glad that got out. Oh yeah, I did talk about Diane and her games. Then we see Andre has a sit down with Pamela. And he's asking, are you working with the Dubois? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? And then like Pamela is like, are you serious right now? Who the hell are these Dubois? I don't know who the hell these people are, nor do I care. But my whole thing is, why would you even accuse me of something like this after I told you something that could put me in jail for life? I literally put my life in your hands, and you would actually think that I would do something to betray you? So she kind of flips out and, you know, walks off and is like, just don't touch me, leave me the hell alone. And then we see Andre's there, pissed off, and he's going off and shit. Not knowing, Thurston saw everything and pretty much hits up Lucius like, Lucius, we got a situation. You need to come down here and check up on Andre. So we see that finally Lucius does show up. And Lucius is like, you know, son, are you okay? And he's like, and you see that damn Andre is distraught. But then we see other people kind of looking at the table like, you know, giving all these different kind of looks and everything. And at this time, we're just thinking it's because, you know, he just got into it and he's just obviously mad and he's just really shooken up. But we find out later on why the people were looking like that and why Thurston even called him in the first place. But then he was saying, like, then Andre starts talking about Pamela, and he's like, you know, I really like her. You know, I haven't really felt this for anybody since Rhonda, and, like, I really wanted her to meet y'all and all of that. And so we're seeing all of this go on. So I'm like, this is going to be really interesting. So then we also get a scene with Jamal. Jamal right now is listening to that song "Love Is a Drug," the duet that he was gonna do with Warren. He's obviously in his feelings because they even got the recording when they're kind of like playing along with it in the studio, and they're like, you know, deeply in love with each other. And Jamal, you know, starts looking through the apartment. He not only finds a bottle of wine, but then he also finds a bottle of pills, you know, between this towel dispenser and shit. And I'm like, damn, Cookie. It was right there. And they're like, this motherfucker got hiding places up in that bitch. And he pulls out the pills, and he got the bottle. And, you know, the more and more he's listening to the song, the more it's getting at him emotionally. Next thing you know, we see that he tosses the pills and decides to drink instead. Alright, so then we actually see next after that. We see that that Cookie goes up to the hotel where Warren's staying. She sees the actual guard because she has a photo of who the guard looks like. The damn guard is leaving, going somewhere. This prompts Cookie to go up in Warren's room with the gun. We see Warren, yeah, because she had that damn gun directed at his ass. She's like, look, you gonna let me know what I need to know, but first and foremost, what you gonna do is your ass gonna go down to the damn precinct and you gonna have those charges removed from Jamal. And he says, you got it. He's like, look, you know, I heard Jamal, and this is the least that I could do for him. And then he was like, could you tell Jamal that I'm sorry about everything? She's like, whoa. Like, I feel sorry for you, but I ain't your damn message boy. I ain't gonna be going back telling Jamal nothing. And then he was, but she says, but then one thing you are going to do also is you're going to let me know what is Diane's plan, you know, because all of a sudden, you know, Hakeem has a situation, now Jamal, like, what does Diane got planned for Andre? And I want to know. And he's like, I'll tell you everything. And he definitely lets her know that that damn new doctor that Andre is seeing, he's a part of the plan, and he messed up his medicine. And then we get a scene where Hakeem goes to Anika's house demanding to see Bella. Her nanny comes and says that, oh no, she's not here, she's over her boyfriend Angelo's house, and Bella's with her. So I'm like, ooh, so you know that didn't sit well with Hakeem's ass. So pretty much, you know, Lucius and Cookie, you know, confront Andre about his therapist, and he's like, have you told the therapist anything? And he was like, well, not really. I mean, I told him about Pamela, but I didn't tell him about, you know, anything personal or nothing like that. And she really sees that, okay, this is crazy. And then she has a flashback of Pound Cake. No one knows what Pound Cake is. And that, well, actually, they know that Pound Cake's been in a hole, but they don't know anything about her baby. So Cookie walks up to the guard that was the baby father, and she's like, look, what's going on with Pound Cake? He's like, where the hell you think this at? You don't walk up on me and ask me no questions. You better fall back. And she's like, look, I know that was your baby. And then the next thing you know, we see he slaps Cookie and pretty much says that you just earned you some time in the hole, bitch. And we see that, you know, after a while, they send her back to her cell, and Pound Cake is there. Pound Cake is crying, and she's emotionally shook up. He's like, look, what happened to your baby, Pound Cake? What's going on? What happened? And he said that she pretty much tells that the guard made her sign off her rights, her parental rights, and now her baby's in the system. So I'm like, yeah, he did that to protect his ass, because I'm thinking, you know, I don't need, because it makes you question, was the sex between Pound Cake and the guard consensual, or did he rape her? And she wanted that baby, and now her baby's in the system, and she's emotionally, she's emotionally shooken up, and so is Cookie. And Cookie's like, I'm gonna see to it that he gonna pay for this shit. I promise you this. He gonna pay for this. And we see that's exactly how she feels about Andre, because she can tell Andre's been wronged, and she wants to get to the bottom of it. Next, we see that Hakeem goes to hang out with Jamal. Jamal's drunk. Hakeem, obviously, is been smoking something, because he come up in there with munchies. They pretty much, he's still listening to Love is a Drug. He's playing it, and then Hakeem was like, man, we need to do something, because the last thing I'm gonna do is sit up here, all in my feelings about because he's pretty much like mad, because he's like, yo, I'll be damned, I'm gonna have my daughter calling some other man daddy, because now he's around her a lot, she's gonna think that's her father. And he's like, nah, I ain't having that shit, and I damn sure ain't gonna be sitting around here listening to you, getting your feelings about this hoe. And Jamal's like, really? He's like, yeah, fuck this dude. You over here listening to this, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do you one better. He goes over to the mixer or whatever, and Hakeem takes Warren's lyrics off of the song. He's like, bye trick, bye ho. And then all of a sudden Jamal's like, yeah, fuck that. He's like, yeah, forget that hoe. And he's like, man, I fucking gave you my heart, and I was even gonna put your ass on my song, and the whole time he was playing me. And then the next thing you know, they do a remake of Love is a Drug, but they have Hakeem on the track. And I was like, it's a totally different song, but it worked. So I was like, the two of them got together and did music like they always do. So I thought that was pretty cool. Then we get the damn scene that changes everything. Because we see Andre is at home. He been calling Pamela time and time again. And Pamela, ain't picked up. But finally, Pamela shows up. And pretty much, she talks about this dude, Marlo Jones, was the guy that she killed. And she says that, look, I could be guilty and I could be going to jail. And she was like, and then next she starts flipping him, and she's like, you know what? I cannot believe after everything I shared with you, you would not trust me. And then he's trying to comfort her. She's like, no, you did not trust me, and I think we're done. I don't think we can do this anymore, because I am really torn up after what I've done. I killed somebody. Do you have any idea what that feels like? Do you know what that feels like? To actually take somebody's life, and I had to live with that for the rest of my life, knowing I did this. It's never going to go away. Do you know what that feels like? And she's just going off, and then it gets to the point where, before that happens, they do intel on Pamela Rose. Thurston comes back to Cookie and Lucian's and was like, they ain't never been no Pamela Rose with the NYPD anywhere. The woman Pamela Rose just does not exist. So immediately they thinking, okay, this bitch is a plant, but who is she a plant for? The next thing you know, after she's talking all this shit, saying that you don't know what it's like to kill somebody, you don't know the kind of emotional turmoil that puts you through, and you can't really relate to me because I've been through so much, and I thought I could depend on you, but I can't, and blah blah blah. And all of a sudden Andre yells, he's like, Pamela! I do know exactly what that feels like. I know what that feels like. And he does, because he's been dealing with this entire season off of what he did at the end of season 3. And then this fool, and I'm like, Andre, do not fucking tell her nothing. But Andre begins to let her know that I killed somebody. Well, when he says that I tried to, he said, you know about that bomb in Vegas? That was me. I tried to kill my father. And she's like, you did? And he's like, yeah, I tried to kill my father. And I have to live with that every day. And then all of a sudden, we saw her facial expression change. And then she's like, I got you. And he's like, what? She's like, I got you. Because at the end of the day, I already knew you did it. And another thing you need to know, I'm not with the NYPD. I'm with Vegas Metro. And you got to be the dumbest criminal I've ever seen. Because, yeah, you, and I also know about your boy Franco, well, what's left of him anyway. And I know Juliana, after she left, she was killed by you. So, she actually set her gun down on the table, but then she ends up getting the gun before Hakeem. She ends up getting the gun before Andre could get it. She's like, so you're under arrest, Andre Lyon, and you're going to jail for the rest of your life. And the next thing you know, they both do like a rubble and tussle. They start fighting, and the gun goes off. And next thing you know, they just fighting and everything. And the next thing, and like while they're fighting, he's like choking her, trying to get the gun away from her, and chokes so hard that he ends up killing Pamela. And he's like panicking. Oh my God, no, Pamela, wake up! Oh no, I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So then we see Lucius and Cookie show up. They pretty much bars their way in, because he's like in panic mode. He's like, Mom, I killed her. She's like, you killed who? She's like, I killed her. Like, look, she's right there. That was Pamela. I killed her. I'm sorry. She was going to turn me in, and I had to do something. I wasn't trying to kill her, but it happened. And he's just like going off and off. And like Lucius is like, there's nobody there, son. And then also he kind of gets mad at Lucius. He's like, look, I told you I killed her, all right? You don't understand. I murdered her. And he's still going off and everything. And then next thing you know, Cookie tells Lucius, you see what the fuck is going on? She done came after Hakeem. She came after Jamal. And now this is how she came after Andre. She came after Andre with this shit. And he's still like beating the floor like, Pamela, wake up. And then she's like, Andre, there's nobody there. And we see first we were seeing Pamela on the floor, and we didn't understand why Lucius and Cookie were looking the way they were looking. But then when she says that like he's up in here screaming and going off, and there's no one here, and she's like, Andre, there's nobody there. And then all of a sudden we see that there was no one there. And then they retro back. Pamela never existed. She was a figment in his brain the whole entire time. They even show when they were at the little shop or whatever, he's sitting there talking to himself, and that's why the people were looking crazy. So the whole time he's been in this thing about Pamela, Pamela never really existed at all. And we see that Andre is just crying, he's hallucinating, he's screaming. And I have to say, Trey Byers acted his ass off in this scene. And then all of a sudden we see Cookie goes down and she looks up at Lucius like, I'm ready to kill this bitch now, because now she done fucked with all 3 of my kids. So I'm like, yes, and next week is the fall finale, so I'm looking to see how they're going to get clapped back at Miss Diana Dubois, because she needs to be clapped back, and I mean quick. Alright, so that's what I got for y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. Also, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, I've started a GoFundMe. Also, you can check out my social platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and I've also started a GoFundMe. You can also find that link in the description box as well. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the fall finale of Empire. So until then, everybody, take care.